What's up everyone, MK Tom Brady here. So in this video, I want to talk about the 4 ice clones. And no, although it sounds like a weird Lord of the Rings spin-off starring Sub-Zero, it's actually about the 4 versions of pretty much the exact same move that he has. I briefly touched on this in my previous video, but after really thinking about it, I've got a lot better ideas here, and I talked it over with some people, and I would love NRS to do something about this move. So right now there are 4 versions of the clone. Version 1 is a standard clone, out for basically a second, has a lot of recovery. The EX clone, single clone for 1 bar, lasts a little bit longer, exact same negative frames as your standard clone. Then there is the 3 clones for 1 bar, in which the first clone only lasts as long as the clone for no meter. And then there is the 2 bar 3 ice clones, in which the first clone lasts a little bit longer to match the time of the 1 bar single ice clone. So you have 4 versions: 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of the same move. Now you would think they all have different applications, but they don't. And they're all destroyed by the exact same thing simultaneously. So I'm just going to use a very slow attack. I used to do this with like faster attacks, but people would always say, oh, of course you're using the fastest attacks in the game. So I'm just, again, I've done this before with slower attacks as well, but just for the sake of this video, for those who haven't seen it, I'm going to punish the ice clone after eating a sandwich using Raiden's Electric Fly, 26 frames. So we're going to see he's going to guard. And I had enough time to literally eat a sandwich and then punish him. Let's take the single bar EX clone. Well, this is going to be no different because it's the same negative frames as the first one. And look how long I had there. Now I challenge you, go home, put your system on, do forward 1-2 clone, and just do forward 1-2, and see if you can mix yourself up. You will never do the attack unless you see the clone come out. So there's no mind game here. So let's try the 3 clones. The 3 clones, I mean, you're just doing the exact same stuff at the exact same time. Now here's the 2 bars, 3 clones, and I'm just waiting until I see the first clone, and I'm going to punish it every single time. So many characters in the game do this. And really, there's no counterplay here. 0. So what I would do if I was NRS is 4 versions of this move seems a little excessive. There's no way they're going to have all 4 versions do 4 individual things. So let's try to condense this a little bit. My initial idea would be to take the regular clone, have it last as long as the EX clone, but it's still heavily minus. Then take the EX clone, have it minus a little bit less, so maybe like minus 21, 22, somewhere in there, cut it in half. So some characters are still going to be able to get their meterless punish, but because it's less minus, it's going to have to be a read, not on reaction. They're going to have to know are you going to spend the bar or are you not going to spend the bar. And the clone itself should armor break. This way, you don't have to be like, oh, can you change the animation? Put these lower to the ground. Clearly, they don't want to do that, so let's just forget about that. Then, this way, Sub-Zero will have 1 clone and an EX clone. EX clone, not safe at all, but a little bit safer, and it will armor break without having to change the artwork of this. Now, if NRS is still insistent upon using this right here, you could still keep this in the game as it is, and you could use that for certain characters that are going to punish you no matter which. If you do this clone or this clone, they just have normals that go through them both. They're fast enough, and there's really nothing you're going to do about it. That's just the game. That's just a matchup situation. And then you'll just have to use this. And sure, that's fine. But if they took that version out, I don't think anybody would cry about it. But if they want to keep it in, fine. But regular clone and EX clone, I would probably make that adjustment. They've got to do something with these. The 2 bar version of this, I don't even know why this is. I'm not really sure like there's no reason I would do that over this one, because one is 1 bar, one is 2 bars. Now, one last thing. Quan Chi standing 4. So without Chameleon, Quan Chi versus Sub-Zero is probably the worst match in the game. And with Chameleon, it's pretty close to the worst match in the game. Simply because he can't do any moves. Because this will get punished with stand 4, this will get punished. Everything he does, he dies for. So he has to do, like, you know, anything in the Chameleon. He can't do any of his own moves. He can only use Chameleon's moves. So what I would say is, while the clone is in recovery, Sub-Zero can recover in crouch by holding down. Same thing with this version. This way, Quan Chi's still going to punish the stuffing out of you for doing Deadly Vapors, then he run the screen, and Ice Ball, and Close Range Clone Punch. He's still going to be able to punish you with Sky Drop, or, etc. For things like this. But this way, you don't have to buff the clone to be like super safe to avoid getting hit in the face by every move you do. And from Quan Chi, and you don't have to nerf Quan Chi stand forward and not be 12 frames. So it's just a fix. You're still going to get punished, but there's some mind game, and you can recover and crouch to say you at least have one move to avoid getting 10-0'd in a matchup where the reality is at the highest level, this would probably be one of the ugliest matches in the game. These are just my suggestions. I really hope NRS looks into this because, again, 4 versions of the same move, and they don't really... You all die the exact same way for all 4 of them. So it's even worse. When you find like a character like Johnny Cage, you can't keep him out. Everything is going to be EX Shadow Kick into Goro. You're dead. GG's. Thanks for coming out. So overall, I think this would really help his corner game especially, but it would also open up a mind game and some form of counterplay. Don't care if the clone's unsafe, but I do feel like there needs to be some counterplay. And to have 4 versions of a move and not a single one of them offer any counterplay options, why are there 4 of them then? Just my thoughts. Loving the patch, loving Sub-Zero. He just, I mean, 4 versions of the same move. What, I mean, even my biggest critics have to even agree. Like 4 versions of the same move and you die. There's not one of those options has a counterplay for anything. That's a bit much. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for more content. My review of the patch should be up in about 20 minutes. Stay tuned.